All right, there's one other idea that I want to share that I think is really deep. I'm not sure I'm going to explain this well, but I think this is actually one of the most, this might be the most important idea I'll share with you today, but I might not explain it well, so bear with me. Starting, maybe 20, 25 years ago, we started to see the rise of the internet era, right? The internet became a thing. And one of the lessons I learned from that is that if you take a shopping mall and you build a website for it, this does not equal an internet company, right? So, yeah, and maybe there's that. I mean, it's like, and in fact, Toys R Us just declared bankruptcy yesterday. Was it? So that was kind of sad. But so what is it that defines an internet company? I mean, I actually know a CIO of a large retailer, I won't name them, that went to their CEO and said, look, we sell stuff on the website, Amazon sells stuff on the website, we're the same thing. And no, this is another one that may or may not go bankrupt at some point, right? So what is it that defines an internet company? It's not whether or not you have a website. It is whether or not you do things like A/B testing, whether or not you have very short cycle times, whether or not you have decision making, whether or not you push down decision making power from the CEO to the engineers and the product managers. I think these are the things that define a truly internet company. These are the things that Amazon, for example, does really well. And these are the things you need to build your company around if you want your company to leverage internet capabilities, right? Because if you don't do A/B testing, your competitors will, and then they'll probably learn much faster than you. So that's what really defines an internet company. Now, we've been hearing a lot about AI companies. And so how about in the AI era? And I think I've been fortunate to have, helped build some of the leading AI teams that help transform Google into an AI company you view it to be. There were a lot of things that went well at Google, not just my leading one team. There were a lot of things. I'm fortunate to have led the AI group at Baidu that helped transform Baidu into, I think, many people say China's leading AI company, but what is it that really takes to, what does it really take to build an AI company? Well, one of the lessons I've learned is that a traditional, internet or a traditional tech company, plus, some machine learning, or plus a neural network, this does not equal an AI company, right? So you're not an AI company just because you're a few people, using a few neural networks somewhere. It's much deeper than that. And I think 20 years ago, I did not know, right? I don't know if any of us knew. I did not know 20 years ago that A/B testing would be such a big thing for the internet, right? It really took us a while to figure that out. I think we're still figuring out today what are the things that define a truly AI company. But I think that we're starting to see some things. I think that AI companies tend to be much more good at strategic data acquisition. Right? And again, really, when I launch products, I've done things like launch a product in one geography, plan to use that to get data to take the next geography, use that data to take the next geography. We take all this data and don't make money from it. We take all this data and monetize it somewhere else. So we're definitely the leading AI organizations. I definitely count Google and Baidu among them. Google and Baidu are very sophisticated in how they think about the AI strategies. The leading AI organizations are definitely able to think through these multi-year chess games in how you think about strategic data acquisition. This is more tactical, but this is maybe something you can implement today. AI companies tend to have centralized data warehouses, right? So a lot of companies have fragmented data warehouses, and if you have 50 data warehouses all over the place, if an engineer wants to put the data together to do something, it's impossible for an engineer to negotiate with 50 vice presidents or whatever to get access to the data. So I think a good policy is if you own a centralized data warehouse, all the data should come to your data warehouse. Security and access is up for discussion, but whether or not it lives in this warehouse, my recommendation for a lot of companies would be to not put that up for discussion. Certainly for user data, we often need to put the data together. And then I think also, pervasive automation, right? And maybe lastly, new job descriptions. and for example, just one example, in the internet era, we've come up with processes for designing mobile apps. For example, we have a product manager draw a wireframe, maybe with Facebook, there's a logo, your friends' faces, there's a feed, and a few buttons. So product manager draws a wireframe, and then engineer implements it. We figured out that process. But for the AI era, let's say you're trying to build a chatbot. Let's say your product manager goes to an engineer and says, oh, please make the speech bubbles look like that. That's the wireframe. The engineer go, what is this? I don't care what the speech bubbles looks like. I need to know what my chatbot is supposed to say. Like the wireframe is not useful for a chatbot. Or a more extreme example, if your product manager draws a wireframe for a self-driving car, and they say, here, build this. This is not useful. So in AI companies, product managers are learning to use data and requests for accuracy and precision recall as the way they communicate with engineers. And honestly, I think for a lot of my projects, we're making our processes on the fly about how product managers should communicate with engineers and work together. Anyway, advice to CEOs as well. I can keep talking for a long time, but take a look at the Harvard Business Review articles I wrote for more advice for executives. Since I'm running over, I should break, but thank you all very much.